The news hit like a nuclear bomb across the Atlantic, and trust me, the shockwaves are still shaking Montecito. Multiple sources confirmed to Page Six that the British royal family is planning not one, but two huge visits to the United States in 2025, and Harry and Meghan are completely, totally, and brutally iced out. King Charles and Queen Camilla will arrive in April, followed by Prince William and Princess Catherine, landing in July for America's 250th birthday celebrations. This isn't just another diplomatic trip. This is history in the making, the kind of pageantry and prestige that only happens once in a lifetime. And the Sussexes have been left watching from the sidelines like uninvited guests at their own party. Think about the significance of what's unfolding here. America's semi-quarter millennial celebration will be one of the biggest events in the nation's history. The pomp, the ceremony, the international attention, all of it will be focused on this monumental milestone. So who does America want to represent the British monarchy at this historic moment? Not the self-proclaimed humanitarians hiding behind their Montecito hedges. Not the couple who spent years criticizing the institution on Netflix and invest-selling memoirs. No, America wants the real deal, the working royals who actually understand duty, service, and dignity. But here's where it gets absolutely delicious. This isn't just about what Harry and Meghan are missing, it's about what they threw away. Let's be brutally honest, they could have been part of this. They should have been part of it. If they had kept quiet, honored their commitments, and played the long game, they would have been essential to these visits. Meghan, the American Duchess, could have been the perfect bridge between two nations. Harry, the beloved prince, could have walked alongside his brother, charming his way across the country. Instead, they've become persona non grata in their adopted homeland. Palace insiders are being cautious, but the message is clear. One source put it simply: the royal family will travel to celebrate America's birthday, but the Sussexes won't be anywhere near the guest list. Another insider questioned if they even belong at events of this level anymore. After all, Harry has become a pot-smoking, pay-for-play royal, and Meghan has been reduced to what one commentator called a jam influencer. Do they really belong on the same stage as the king and future queen? The answer seems to be a resounding no. And this public, deliberate snub is about to explode into the biggest royal scandal of 2025. Timing couldn't be worse for Harry and Meghan. This announcement lands right when their brand is struggling to stay relevant, desperately trying to convince everyone they're still important. For months, they've tried to position themselves as American power players, philanthropists, and Hollywood insiders. But with one swift announcement, Buckingham Palace has completely obliterated their carefully constructed image. Let's take a look at where they stand now. Netflix, which gave them a reported $100 million deal, has watched their content flop. Their documentary series was a one-hit wonder built on family drama. The Polo series barely got noticed, and that cooking show with Meghan? Industry insiders are already whispering that it could end their relationship with Netflix. Spotify, too, remembers their failed podcast deal, which ended in disaster. After a few episodes, the partnership collapsed, with a Spotify executive even calling them grifters. And now, just when they need a win more than ever, American Riviera Orchard has become the joke of the year. Meghan's big business relaunch, meant to prove she's a savvy entrepreneur, has been met with mockery. She's selling overpriced jam, competing with influencers hawking preserves on Instagram. The woman who married a prince and had access to global platforms is now selling jam like it's a farmer's market stall. And now the royal family is coming to America, essentially telling the public, we're bringing the real royals, the ones who actually work, who represent the crown with dignity, not the ones who drag it through the mud for Netflix specials. The message is clear. You're not needed. You're not wanted. This is a calculated, strategic move designed to ensure that the monarchy remains relevant and respected on a global scale. The royal family knows exactly what they're doing. The decision to send King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Princess Catherine to America for two major visits in 2025 isn't just about diplomacy. It's about making a statement. They're ensuring that the monarchy is front and center in the American consciousness, reinforcing their credibility, dignity, and relevance. The timing of these visits is key. April and July, two separate visits spaced out perfectly, will guarantee ongoing media coverage. King Charles and Queen Camilla will arrive first, laying the groundwork and reasserting the monarchy's importance. By the time they leave, the public's attention will be held, keeping the monarchy in the media cycle. And then when the buzz starts to fade, Prince William and Catherine will step in, bringing fresh energy, star power, and relatability as they celebrate America's 250th birthday celebrations. They're bringing their undeniable charm and appeal, all while showing how the monarchy can connect with modern audiences. In stark contrast, Harry and Meghan, who once had the chance to represent that same dignity and global influence, will be left behind, sidelined from the very moment they should have been at the heart of it all. This is the royal family's masterstroke, ensuring that the monarchy's image stays intact and that they remain the true face of British tradition. Harry and Meghan's decision to turn away from their royal duties now seems more like a miscalculation than a liberation, and they're finding out the hard way that power, prestige, and influence aren't as easily reclaimed once they've been squandered. This is a calculated strategic move. For months, the American media will focus on the British royals, but not the drama-filled Montecito narrative of victimhood and complaints. It will be the real royals, those who represent duty, stability, and true public service. Every magazine cover, every news story, and every social media post will feature Charles, Camilla, William, and Catherine, not Harry and Meghan. The Sussexes will be entirely overshadowed in their own adopted country. And here's where it gets even more intense. Sources close to the palace suggest this is a deliberate strategy to show Americans what real royalty looks like compared to the Montecito version. Think about the optics. While Harry and Meghan have spent years doing staged photo ops at disaster sites and creating charity appearances that scream desperation, William and Catherine will be engaging in actual diplomacy. They'll meet with governors, presidents, and business leaders. They'll attend important events, representing their country and building global relationships. The difference is glaring. On one side, you have the future King and Queen of England, poised, professional, and respected. On the other side, you have a former prince and his wife trying to sell overpriced jam and secure podcast deals. The American public isn't blind. They can see the difference between substance and spectacle, between real duty and narcissism. The palace has remained tight-lipped about whether Harry and Meghan were even considered for involvement, but the silence speaks volumes. You don't exclude family members from significant events without careful thought. This wasn't an oversight or a mistake. It was a deliberate choice, a public message that the institution has moved on without them. And the most brutal part, the royal tour will succeed spectacularly without them. America will roll out the red carpet for the real royals, showing once and for all that Harry and Meghan were never irreplaceable. They were simply people who happened to be in the right place at the right time until they weren't. For Meghan Markle, this is more than just a snub. It's the destruction of the narrative she's been trying to sell since she arrived back in America. She positioned herself as the American princess, the California girl who would revolutionize the British monarchy, a biracial duchess bridging cultures. She told Oprah, she told Netflix, she told anyone who would listen that she was the future, that she understood diversity and inclusion in ways the traditional institution never could. But now, the old institution is coming to her country, to her people, and they're doing it without her, because they don't need her. Let's discuss the catastrophic consequences for Meghan's brand. She spent years building herself up as the Commonwealth's greatest asset, the person who could connect with modern, diverse audiences in ways the older British aristocrats never could. She positioned herself as essential for the monarchy's survival in the 21st century. Remember all those articles about how Meghan was going to save the royal family by making it relevant to younger generations? Well, reality is about to hit hard. The royal family is coming to America, the most diverse nation on earth, and they're bringing William and Catherine, the most traditionally British couple imaginable. And it will be a massive success. America is going to adore them. Politicians will scramble for photo ops, celebrities will beg for invitations, and the media will fawn over every appearance. Meghan will watch from Montecito as everything she claimed only she could do is being done perfectly without her. This shatters her victim narrative. She told the world that the institution rejected her because they couldn't handle her Americanness, her modernity, her refusal to conform. But now, the same institution is embracing America, celebrating American culture and honoring American history. Turns out, they didn't have a problem with America at all. They had a problem with Meghan. The geographical humiliation for her is especially sweet. These royal visits will likely include California, Meghan's home state, the place where she was supposed to reign supreme. Imagine her sitting in her Montecito mansion, watching news coverage of William and Catherine being welcomed by California's elite, touring Silicon Valley, and maybe even visiting Los Angeles. The people she thought would always see her as their success story will be tripping over themselves to meet the real royals. Sources close to the situation say Meghan is furious. She genuinely thought leaving the royal family would enhance her power and influence, especially in America. She thought she could have the best of both worlds, keep the Duchess title while ditching the obligations. But now she's realizing that title means nothing without the institution behind it. She's a Duchess in name only, and America is about to learn what true royalty looks like. Her American dream isn't just dying, it's being publicly executed. Harry's pain is even more personal. This is his family, his blood, coming to the country he fled to, the place he claimed to love more than Britain. And they're doing it without him. They don't need him, they don't want him. And worst of all, they're proving they're better off without him. For a man who spent his life defined by his royal position, this is psychological devastation. Let's really think about what Harry is going through right now. His father, the king, is coming to America. His brother, the heir to the throne, is coming to America. And Harry, the spare, who wrote an entire book about being the spare, isn't invited. He's not even an afterthought. He's been erased from the narrative completely. His decades of royal service mean nothing. All of his fears about being irrelevant, being cast aside, being forgotten, they're all coming true in the most public way possible. This is worse than professional exclusion. This is family rejection on a global stage. Harry spent years complaining about being overshadowed by William, about always playing second fiddle, never getting the recognition he deserved. So he left. He wrote his memoir to tell his side, to reclaim his narrative, to prove he mattered. And now, the institution is showing him exactly how much he mattered by functioning perfectly without him. William doesn't need a wingman. Charles doesn't need a second son. The monarchy has moved on, and Harry is discovering that he was never as essential as he thought. The geographical symbolism is harsh. Harry chose America. He chose California's sunshine over British rain. They got exactly what they asked for. They wanted out, they wanted to leave, and now they're free, completely free, from royal duty, tradition, and protocol. But that freedom came at a cost. They've become irrelevant. Their complaints about royal life now seem empty in the face of what they've really gained. Nothing. They wanted a fresh start in Hollywood, a glamorous life away from the royal spotlight. And now, as William and Catherine take center stage in America, they've found out the hard way that freedom without purpose, without power, is nothing. They've become exactly what they feared: forgotten. Harry and Meghan's entire narrative was built on the idea that they were rejecting a system that held them back. But now, they're watching as the real royals come to America and get the respect, attention, and admiration they could have had. Instead, they're stuck in their own version of freedom, one that leaves them sidelined, irrelevant, and scrambling to keep up. While William and Catherine are welcomed with open arms, Harry and Meghan are on the outside looking in, left to watch as the world moves on without them. The truth is, they walked away from the monarchy, but they didn't realize that what they were walking into wasn't the life they expected. They thought Hollywood would be their stage, but instead, they found themselves at the bottom of the entertainment ladder, doing things they once criticized. Meanwhile, the real royals are thriving, and it's clear that the world is choosing them over the Sussexes. The irony is bitter, and their own words and actions have led them to this point. Harry and Meghan got their freedom, but they didn't get the respect, the influence, and the legacy they once thought was theirs. They have the freedom to do whatever they want, but in the process, they've found themselves trapped in a new kind of prison, one built on the very freedom they fought so hard to obtain. The royal duties they once felt suffocated by weren't just obligations, they were the very things that gave them relevance. Those tedious public engagements opened doors, and the institutional support gave them a platform they couldn't replicate on their own. Now, they're watching from the sidelines, unable to join the royal family in representing the crown with dignity and purpose. They wanted out, and they got it. But with it came the realization that they've traded influence for independence, only to discover that independence isn't what they thought it would be. They're now left clinging to the titles they no longer truly hold, desperate for relevance and recognition, while the institution they left behind continues to thrive and grow without them. As King Charles, Queen Camilla, and Prince William with Princess Catherine make their mark on the world stage, Harry and Meghan are left scrambling for a response strategy. Every move they make seems desperate, as if they're trying to compete with the very institution they turned their back on. And in the face of the royal visits, there's not much they can do that won't come across as petty or embarrassing. Launching another line of jam or announcing a charity initiative will only reinforce the stark contrast between their attempt at relevance and the authenticity of the working royals. As the royals make their way to America, Harry and Meghan will be forced to confront the hard truth. They wanted freedom, but in doing so, they've isolated themselves from the very thing that gave them purpose and power. Their post-royal existence, filled with media appearances and performative acts, now seems more hollow than ever. And as the royal spotlight moves forward without them, they must grapple with the painful reality that they are no longer part of the story they once thought they could control. As Prince William and Princess Catherine prepare to visit America, all eyes will be on them. Major media outlets, from TV networks to print, will be consumed with coverage of their every move. Kate's fashion, William's diplomatic skills, and their role in celebrating America's 250th anniversary. There simply won't be space for Meghan's grievances, and royal watchers predict that any attempt by Harry and Meghan to counter-program by showing up in cities where the working royals aren't visiting will come off as transparently desperate. It'll be a clear attempt to claw for attention, and the media will frame it exactly that way. Look at us too, we're still relevant. But here's the thing, if Harry and Meghan tried to insert themselves into the royal visit, even uninvited, it'll only highlight their irrelevance. Imagine the optics of the prodigal son showing up at his father's state visit, hoping for a surprise reunion photo, only to be turned away by palace security. That's not an attempt at counter-programming, it's career suicide. The media would seize on that rejection as confirmation of their outsider status, and it would backfire in a way that could irreparably damage their public image. No matter what they do, their options all seem to be losing plays. Every move will either look desperate, get ignored, or make things worse. The royal family, meanwhile, is coming to America with the full backing of the British government, American institutions, and the genuine interest of the public. In contrast, Harry and Meghan are left with a failed lifestyle brand and a shrinking supporter base. It's a losing battle, and the world will be watching them realize it. The working royals are about to receive a warm welcome across America, while the Sussexes face an embarrassing and inevitable decline in their relevance. The situation isn't just a snub, it's a slow-motion disaster.